Good morning or evening. Welcome to day number 1 of the Doctor of Divinity course in Brahman consciousness. Today is an important day because we're beginning something new, but we're also continuing something that has been in place for some time. It has been named the Sahasra Sirsha Brahma Emergence Event. This is a very important event that we are all working toward triggering for the benefit of humanity. The Doctor of Divinity course is designed to put together the experience that you will be gaining from your attendance in the SSB meditations with experience. The two go always hand in hand, so it's important to have both knowledge and experience. And for knowledge, we are going to begin with a focus on the Yoga Vasishta by Valmiki. The Yoga Vasishta is one of the most interesting texts in the Vedic literature. It gives us this insight into how the universe is constructed. Where does the universe arise? How is it maintained? And at what point and how is it destroyed? We find this all in the Yoga Vasishta. Vasishta, the enlightened sage who is narrating this text, makes it very clear that if one is to ever achieve moksha, liberation, or self-realization, the intellect must be employed. It is not enough just to have experience. In fact, he even goes to say that experience is the minor part of liberation. Without the use of the intellect and refinement of the intellect to a very great degree, liberation is not possible. So what are we being liberated from? Well, we're being liberated from illusion. There is a vast illusion all around us that we call this universe. There are 7.8 billion people. And there is a huge geography, mountains and rivers and forests and deserts. All of this, according to the Yoga Vasishta, is illusion. And Vasishta says very clearly, the universe is a dream in the mind of the Creator. So we live in a dream. Very interesting. We have this opportunity to experience what it might be like to be the creator of the universe whenever we enjoy a lucid dream. course, a lucid dream, I'm sure you're all familiar with the term. It's become very popular since about 1960, when lots of research was done on this phenomenon and continues to be done even today. When one is experiencing a lucid dream, one is realizing while dreaming that I'm asleep. And this experience, this is a dream that I'm having. I'm not really running around here in this environment. I'm dreaming that I'm running around in some environment. I'm dreaming there are various people around me. I'm dreaming this scenery. And when we realize that, it's extraordinarily empowering and freeing. We feel like, wow, I could do anything. Most people, they want to fly. They just want to fly around. And some people, that's all they ever do in a lucid dream. As soon as they realize they're dreaming, they take off flying. It's exhilarating. It's very delightful to fly over the countryside, see the people below, wave to them, yell at them, and see them look up to you with astonishment in their eyes. This lucid dreaming experience is the closest most people come to feeling what it's like a little bit to be in moksha, to be liberated. It's a taste of liberation. And so in our experiential side, we use this phenomenon of lucid dreaming every day, in every session. Because it is possible to trigger a lucid dream without going to sleep. Because a lucid dream is occurring where? In the conscious thinking mind? No. It's occurring in the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is that part of us that is connected to the pranamaya kosha, that part of awareness that we have in the realm of the pranamaya kosha. This is also called the astral realm, or in New Age technology or terminology, this is called the fourth dimension. The third dimension is the physical human realm. So in the astral realm, what we discover is we have very little restriction. In fact, the only restriction we seem to have is our own mind and our own fears and our own lack of information and knowledge. Whatever we believe we can achieve in the astral world, literally. We can achieve all kinds of amazing things. We can fly, we can walk through walls. The universe is clearly changing at our whim. We can change it just with our mind. And when we're asleep, the body is asleep, and the conscious thinking mind is asleep, but we remain awake. We are in the subconscious mind. We are connected to the pranamaya kosha. Sometimes the experience is, I have left my physical body and I am running around in the astral realm in my pranamaya kosha. There's a vast group of people who try to cultivate that experience. called astral projection. But astral projection is just another form of lucid dreaming, because there is even the physical body is an illusion. The physical body, the physical universe is all a dream in the mind of the Creator. As we transcend to a deeper level, the pranamaya kosha, we begin to have a sense of how that's possible. How could it be that the Creator could dream everything? Well, it's easy, just like we're dreaming right now in our lucid dream or in our astral projection. Now, if we are successful in transcending in meditation, going beyond the physical body and establishing our awareness in the pranamaya kosha, in the subconscious mind, then it's only necessary to use our imagination for a very brief moment, 1 to 3 seconds, and we can trigger a lucid dream in our mind. So one of the main practices in our meditation is to do exactly that, to trigger a waking induced lucid dream. And so we have many opportunities to do that throughout the session. Every 15 seconds, we are performing the technique of sanyama. The sanyama technique is thinking a particular thought called a sutra. And while thinking that sutra, we engage our imagination, which means we think this sutra in the conscious thinking mind, physical body. We have connected to the pranamaya kosha, astral body, and the subconscious mind by engaging the silent witness. And then we think that sutra and we observe it from the silent witness, and we imagine the result of the sutra, whatever it is. Maybe it's being in Goloka with Radha and Krishna. Or perhaps it's the Sutra Aham Brahmasmi, where we imagine what it would be like to be the creator of the universe. Engaging the imagination just for that 1 to 3 seconds is enough if we can stop engaging the imagination. There is the trick. Everybody finds it easy to start the imagination. But how hard is it to stop the imagination? Withdraw all imagination. Withdraw all attention. Withdraw all of your energy from outside of the silent witness. Silent witness is who you are. You are not the imagination. You are not the mind that is thinking this sutra. You are the silent witness. Return to the silent witness, and then, if you're successful, you'll be surprised. Always you're surprised when the waking-induced lucid dream begins. The reason you're surprised is you're not expecting anything. And that's very important. If you're expecting to have a waking-induced lucid dream after you imagine what's it like to be the creator of this universe, you'll never have that experience. Always and foremost, we have to let go. Letting go is not a quality of the ego. Quality of the ego is what? Grasping, holding on to, gaining territory, gaining inventory of who I am and where I have been and what I have done and what I'm going to do in the future. That's the ego. Always holding on to everything and accumulating. We have to do the exact opposite. To let go and transcend the ego, transcend every impulse of holding on, and then magically, it is like magic. We have this experience, maybe just a few seconds at first, but our goal is to be in that experience of the sutra until the next sutra. Not the next in that series, but the next sutra. So maybe 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, we are engaged in a waking-induced lucid dream. So that's our objective during the meditation. In order to accomplish this, we have to put the body in a comfortable position so we can forget about it. We're always thinking about the body, adjusting the body, moving the body to make it more comfortable. Then that also defeats our practice. So this is a long period of cultivation of various aspects. We have to reach a state in which our body is completely asleep, but remaining in an erect posture. Now that's also a challenge. But there is, fortunately, a particular asana that is very useful for this. The combination of the Padma asana and transcending is the key to a waking-induced lucid dream. And a waking-induced lucid dream is the precursor for just being, samadhi. And of course, samadhi is that fertile state in which we allow consciousness to do whatever we have asked it to do. Whatever is our intention, and we let go of that intention, consciousness automatically, like a spring that we have held down. I'm thinking of a coil spring, and we hold it down with our hand. What happens when we take our hand away? It always jumps up. Consciousness is exactly like that. When we hold down consciousness for a moment and give it a direction, what's it like to be the creator of this universe, and then we let go, consciousness automatically, due to its nature, projects that experience of exactly what it is like to be the creator of the universe. Aham Brahmasmi. So our meditations are like laboratories where we engage in all these very carefully designed practices, each one working together to allow the ultimate experience to arise. And that ultimate experience it's been called self-realization, to actually experience who I am. I am not the body. I am not the mind. I am pure consciousness. What does that feel like? What is pure consciousness experience? And that's what we're doing. We're trying to cultivate that. And once we cultivate it, we have a roadmap to it. Then we can go back to it. But then the obstacle arises. I want to have a waking-induced lucid dream. I am sitting very quietly and peacefully. I'm thinking the sutra, I'm letting it go after a brief imagination. But what happens? Can't let it go. Many thoughts arise. Or maybe one thought arises. Why can't I stop thinking? Anyway, all of these thoughts that arise come from karmic traces. And it's a blessing when we have these thoughts, because it's like a fuel gauge on the car. It tells us we still have a little bit of gas left in the car. We still have some karmic traces to balance. Now, from time to time, we are given a blessing. From time to time, we seem to be able to sneak through the sleeping elephants of karmic traces and have a genuine experience of who we are. We experience the power of our own consciousness to create whatever we intend for it to create. And we have a waking-induced lucid dream. But it goes away after a while. And that's because it is a powerful technique. When we let go of everything, we allow ourselves just to be, and allow consciousness just to manifest whatever we have intended for it to manifest. This is extremely challenging to our ego, which operates in exactly the opposite direction. And the ego is a collection of our karmic traces. And when we challenge the ego, it responds with thoughts, responds with its only means of existence. Thoughts that arise in our mind come from individual karmic traces, or may come from divine karmic traces, but 100% every thought comes from a karmic trace. We've been trained or in school, and we have come to know that our thoughts are marvelous, that we have tremendous creativity, and we should be thinking up wonderful new things all the time. That is a trick of the current situation in our life called bondage. We are bound to that idea that thinking is important. Thinking is not important. Being is important. Existence is not important. Unity, yoga, oneness is important. So we have it all backwards, most of us, and we have to unlearn that. And eventually we can unlearn it. And the way we unlearn it is we balance our karmic traces. So fortunately, we have a very simple practice. We're guided through the whole thing in our meditation. This is a very, very powerful meditation for balancing karmic traces and establishing that we've made progress. We know we've made progress, at least in sneaking between the sleeping elephants of karmic traces when we create a waking-induced lucid dream in response to thinking a sutra. So we have encouragement. Now, why do we even need encouragement? Well, without it, we wouldn't be sitting there. Without the cooperation of the ego, who is cooperating in its own demise, we wouldn't even do the meditation. So always we have this issue of working with the ego, transcending the ego, and ultimately annihilating the ego. And it takes a little bit of time before an individual reaches the point where he or she is willing to annihilate the ego. It's based on their level of consciousness. When we're at the lower levels of consciousness, below 200, we're totally only interested in our existence and perpetuating it forever at the expense of everything except our existence. But once we reach level 200, a light bulb starts to glimmer a little bit in our consciousness, and we have the idea maybe there's more to life than physical existence. Maybe there's some existence inside as well. So we began looking inward. And from level 200 to about level 500, our attention is very much increasing on the inward direction of observation of who we are. Then when we reach level 500, we have a pretty good idea of what's going on. We may not have reached moksha, but we are solidly on the right road. It's like taking a car trip, and at first you're in an unfamiliar territory and you're not sure if this road leads to your destination. But then you see enough markers, you see enough road signs, and then before long you're sure, okay, I'm on the right road. If I just stay on this road, I'm going to reach the city I'm going to, even though I can't see it somewhere out there. But I have strong faith that on the basis of my experiences and on this road signs that I'm seeing and the traffic and the people going in that direction and the fellow at the gas station who said, yes, that's the way, I believe, okay, I think I'm on the right road to my destination. And at level 500, you have that experience. I'm on the way. I know how to get to moksha. I know where liberation exists, and I can get there. And then you begin to think about everyone else. So up until level 500, not too much attention is on anyone else except how you can profit from them. How can I use this person to get what I want? I'll pretend I'm doing it for their benefit, but actually I just want to take advantage of everything in the environment and every person to get what I need for my own existence. when that lets go, when you stop looking at other people as objects that you can use to achieve your own objectives, then you're probably at level 500 and higher. And then you become interested in the Goloka project. Before level 500, the Goloka project is just a means to an end. You only want to use it to achieve your own personal agenda. People often study the Goloka project and the idea of communities, and then they have, aha, I'll go and create my own community. It won't be 1,000 people, I'll just have 10 or 15 people. I'll go buy some land and I'll become the chieftain of my own community. But what are you doing? You're not really doing it for those other people, are you? You're just accumulating some willing people around you who will look to you as their leader so you can continue to make your ego secure. But once you reach level 500, it all drops away. The ego begins to fade into the background. The ego takes on the role of the car that you're driving on the road. You are no longer identified with that car. It's not me. The body is not me. The ego is not who I am. But the ego is a tool or a vehicle that I'm going to use to get to my destination. So then we have a remarkable change in attitude. Instead of wanting to use other people, we want to help other people. We want to give them assistance because we know how to get to the city that everyone wants to go to. And so instead of spending our day driving to the city, we spend a good part of our time helping other people understand they're on the right road. This is the way to go. Come on, we'll all go to the city together. Complete change in the way we think about everything. At that point, we're beginning to be strongly identified with the silent witness as who we are. But what has happened? We have made decisions. We've made decisions of who we're not, and we've made decisions of who we are. Decisions are made by the intellect. And the intellect, according to Vasishta, is the key to liberation. Because we live in a jail cell made of thoughts and words, knowledge constructs. Knowledge constructs, what is that? Well, that's an idea of how things are. There's a knowledge construct that says we live on a spinning ball. It's spinning around at a fantastic speed of about 1,000 miles an hour. It's hurtling through a vast void of outer space, somehow magically attracted to the sun by an invisible and mysterious force called gravity that is so powerful that it will keep our massive spinning ball of the earth attached to the sun as if a ball is attached to a tether. Now, if we really think about that and ponder it, there seems to be some holes in that concept. Gravity is so powerful that it can do that. It can hold on to this massive spinning ball and keep it from zipping off into outer space, and it can make it go around as if there's some invisible rope tying this ball to the sun. And then we're told, no, don't think like that. We have theories. We have all these calculations. We have mathematics. We can prove it to you. Here now, sit down. Let me show you these symbols. Here we have delta. Over here we have an x. We have x squared. We have all these wonderful mathematical symbols. And if you'll just watch for a moment, I'll do a little magic show and I'll scribble all over this blackboard. And when I'm done, I'll stand back and say, there, now, see, I've proved it to you. And so what do? Well, if you're thinking, you say, no, you haven't proved anything to me. You've scribbled all over a blackboard and shown me a bunch of symbols. But if you're a little bit insecure, you don't want to admit that you don't understand what in the world. Apparently, this guy knows quite a lot. He's able to regurgitate many of these little symbols onto a blackboard. So he must be extraordinarily intelligent and therefore know what he's talking about. I don't want, my ego is saying, I don't want to show how stupid I am. So yes, okay, thank you. Now I understand. And I memorize all those little symbols. And then on the test, I give them back and the teacher says, yes, you understand. And you get a degree and everybody believes you know what you're talking about. But if you just apply a modicum of common sense, you begin to have a doubt that it's really the way you've been told. You begin to doubt the knowledge construct of the solar system and the spinning ball around the sun. And that doubt arises from your connection with reality, with who you are. And eventually, you dismantle that concept that we live on a spinning ball, tied by some invisible tether to the sun. The calculations say, I believe we're racing around the sun at 64,000 miles an hour, according to the calculations. And of course, these are very advanced scientific calculations. And that the sun is 93 million miles away. All these really big numbers. And before long, you feel like a very tiny, insignificant thing in the grand scheme of things. This is intentional. This knowledge construct is not given to you by divine karmic traces. All knowledge constructs have their roots in karmic traces. But this knowledge construct arose from consensus of individual ignorance. See, there's individual ignorance, we call karmic traces. According to Yoga Vasishtha, this is also a very startling statement. All knowledge is ignorance. Whoa, hold on. I happen to be a professor at a university and I revere all knowledge, particularly right knowledge. I think it's very important. No, knowledge is just also part of the illusion. And Yoga Vasishta clearly states, and we're going to read it in a little while, not today, how knowledge is ignorance. Knowledge makes up these knowledge constructs, a very refined aspect of the ego of individuals and the collective ego of a society that says this is the way things are. As soon as we identify, this is the way things are, we have a knowledge construct that tells us how it all works, we have participated in the illusion. So this is our study, discovering who we really are, beyond even the rarefied knowledge constructs, even the knowledge constructs that are presented in the Yoga Vasishta. Because what Vasishta says ultimately is, everything I am telling you today in this dissertation in the Yoga Vasishta, it's not real. I am giving you a very big lesson in ignorance. Now you need to determine what is the reality behind the ignorance. So by having the experience of pure consciousness, the silent witness during our meditation, and then having the knowledge constructs of the Yoga Vasishta, we have the best of both worlds. The experiences during our meditation balance karmic traces. And the focus on and reading of the Yoga Vasishta balances karmic traces. But the karmic traces being balanced in Yoga Vasishta are the karmic traces that are knowledge constructs. The karmic traces we balance during meditation are predominantly physical and emotional. We're having emotional experiences. We're feeling fear, we're feeling sadness, we're feeling remorse, or we're having a pain in our body. We can't sit still. My knee is killing me. These are all expressions of the balancing of karmic traces that are happening during our meditation. Very common experiences we have every day in every meditation. But we're not touching on the knowledge constructs very much. But in Yoga Vasishta, we're purely focusing on the knowledge constructs. So as we attend these courses, these daily knowledge meetings, we must have our awareness settled in the silent witness, transcending as deeply as possible while we are engaging in this study of the Yoga Vasishta. That will allow the words, the knowledge constructs that Vasishta is using to attack and balance our own individual knowledge constructs. And that is the balancing knowledge constructs. It's the balancing of karmic traces on that very refined level. And so by the end of this course, we will have the whole thing dismantled. We will be established in Brahman consciousness. We will know that the universe, and we won't just know it intellectually, we'll know it by experience, is a fantastic illusion, and that my existence is an illusion that there is only oneness, there is only yoga, there is only unity. Well, thank you for attending today. We will resume our next session tomorrow, and we'll begin in our study of the Yoga Vishishta.